Some moments in history are quiet yet powerful. This is one of them. It's the story of a door that opened when all others closed, a story of a young girl named Miriam, whose world was collapsing, and a distant nation that saw her humanity. In 1939, as Europe braced for war, Jewish families like Miriam Zucker's in Vienna faced terror and isolation. Their homes, friends, and country were lost to them. They became ghosts in their own city, marked and hunted. The world locked its doors. But one remained open, the Philippines, led by President Manuel L. Quezon. The open-door policy was not about politics or power but about decency. For Miriam, that open door was a lifeline, a chance at a new life. This act of kindness became a family legacy passed down through generations. Decades later, Miriam's granddaughter Leah would journey to the Philippines, not as a refugee but as a pilgrim seeking to understand and give thanks. She discovered that the quiet act of grace from 1939 still echoed. This is that echo, a story of courage, kindness, and the power of a single open door. It's a reminder, the simplest acts can change lives. Sometimes history's whispers are its most important lessons. This is the story of the open door, and it begins in darkness. Vienna, 1939. A city of ghosts. For Miriam Zucker, it was home, now transformed by fear. The music stopped, the sweet smells vanished, replaced by suspicion and hate. Her father lost his work, her mother hurried through hostile streets, and Miriam's world shrank. Friends disappeared, school became a place of cruelty, the park was forbidden, fear was constant, hope fading with every rejection from countries unwilling to help. The Zuckers wrote letters, stood in lines, begged for visas, always denied. America, Britain, Switzerland all said no. The world's doors slammed shut. Despair settled in until a rumor surfaced. A place called the Philippines might accept Jews. It was distant, unknown, a gamble on hope. With nothing left in Vienna but danger, the Zuckers chose to risk everything for a chance at life. They chose hope over certainty. The Philippines was a whisper, but it was all they had. Sometimes a whisper is enough to keep moving. The Zucker family prepared for the unknown. They left behind everything familiar, clinging to the possibility of sanctuary. The world was closing in, but one door might still be open. For Miriam, that hope was everything. The journey would change her life, and generations to come. In the darkest hour, a single rumor became a lifeline. They followed it into the unknown. Why did the Philippines open its doors when others closed theirs? The answer, President Manuel L. Quezon, a leader who saw suffering and chose action. With American High Commissioner Paul McNutt and the Frieder brothers, Quezon launched the open door policy. It was unpopular, risky, and met with resistance. But Quezon insisted, we must extend a hand of welcome. He saw a human crisis, not a political one. The plan offered visas, land, and hope to Jewish refugees. For families like the Zuckers, a Philippine visa was salvation. The Philippines, a struggling nation itself, became a sanctuary for over 1,000 Jews. This was not about alliances or gain, it was about empathy. A Catholic nation in Asia opened its heart to strangers. For Miriam and others, the Philippines was not just a place on a map, it was hope made real. The open door policy was a testament to shared humanity. In a world of closed borders, one small nation chose compassion. That choice saved lives and changed history. Sometimes the bravest acts are the simplest. The Philippines became an unlikely haven. Leaving Vienna was a wrenching goodbye. One suitcase each, memories packed tight. The Zuckers crossed a hostile continent, every checkpoint a risk. At Genoa, they boarded a crowded steamship, surrounded by others fleeing for their lives. Relief mingled with grief. The future was a mystery. The voyage was long, weeks of endless sea, foreign languages, and anxious faces. Miriam watched the ocean, wondering what awaited them. The air grew thick and tropical as they neared Asia. Palm trees replaced pine forests. The world was changing. Fear mixed with anticipation. They were no longer just running, they were sailing toward something new. Manila was ahead, a promise on the horizon. The unknown was terrifying, but it was also hope. For the Zuckers, the journey was a leap of faith. Manila greeted the Zuckers with heat, color, and chaos, a world apart from Vienna. The harbor buzzed with life. The air was thick with unfamiliar scents. Filipino volunteers and the local Jewish community welcomed them with smiles and food. For people used to fear, kindness was a shock. Miriam saw faces unlike any she'd known, but their warmth was universal. Their new home was simple, their possessions few. Language and food were strange, and they felt like outsiders. But here there was no fear, no soldiers, no hate, no threats. They were newcomers, not targets. Poverty and uncertainty remained, but so did freedom. They could walk the streets without looking over their shoulders. In that freedom, they began to rebuild. The process was slow and difficult, but possible. Manila was not home yet, but it was a place to start again. Safety was a gift they had not known in years. In Manila, the Zuckers could finally breathe. Life in Manila was hard, but kindness made it bearable. Miriam's father took any work he could find, her mother tried to make their room a home. The cultural gap was vast, but neighbors bridged it with small acts. A Filipino woman brought sinigang to Miriam's mother, sharing food and smiles. Miriam was invited to play by local children, laughter dissolving her loneliness. The shopkeeper extended credit, neighbors taught her Tagalog, families shared fiestas. These were not acts of charity, but of friendship. Filipinos saw the Zuckers as neighbors, not refugees. The value of pakikipagkapwa, seeing oneself in the other, shone through. Slowly, Manila became home. Strange foods became comfort, the language familiar, the heat just weather. Kindness healed old wounds and restored dignity. Miriam's fear faded, replaced by warmth and belonging. In this unlikely place, the Zuckers found a new family. Decades later, Miriam's story became her family's legacy. Her granddaughter Leah grew up hearing about the open door and the kindness that saved them. For Leah, the Philippines was a land of heroes, a place that gave her family life. In 2019, Leah traveled to Manila not to escape but to connect. The city was modern, bustling, but she searched for traces of her grandmother's past. With old photos and questions, Leah walked the streets of Malate, visited the synagogue, and imagined Miriam's first days. Her journey was a pilgrimage, seeking the soul of the place that had become part of her own. Leah was more than a tourist. She was living proof of a promise kept. She searched for the spirit of kindness that had saved her family. The past and present intertwined as she retraced her grandmother's footsteps. Leah's journey was about gratitude, memory, and connection. She was the echo of history's whisper, and she was determined to say thank you. Leah's search led her to the Quezon Memorial Circle, where a monument of open doors honored the rescue. Seeing her family's story in stone was powerful, a public memory of quiet heroism. In archives and museums, Leah met descendants of those who had helped the refugees. They shared stories of friendship, shared meals, and hardship during the war. The past came alive in these conversations. It was no longer just her grandmother's story but a shared one. Some remembered the Zuckers by name, recalling kindness exchanged during the Japanese occupation. Leah realized the bond was not just historical, it was living, passed down through generations. She was welcomed as family, not a stranger. Meals were shared just as in the past. The open door of 1939 was still open. Kindness had endured, alive in memory and action. Leah found not just history but family, connected by compassion. The legacy of the open door was real, and it was hers to carry forward. What is the legacy of a single act of kindness? It's a ripple that spreads across generations. President Quezon's decision saved over 1,000 lives, including Miriam's. That act gave hope, safety, and a future to the desperate. But the ripples didn't stop there. They shaped families, communities, and nations. For Jewish families, it was proof that goodness survives even in darkness. For Filipinos, it became a point of pride, a story of courage and empathy. The story built a bridge between cultures, binding them together. Leah's journey was another ripple, an act of remembrance and gratitude. By tracing her grandmother's path, she kept the story alive. We must remember both the darkness and the light, the stories of those who chose to help. These stories are our moral compass. In a world still marked by closed doors, Miriam's story is a lesson and a challenge. Compassion is a choice, and even small nations can make a difference. We must share these stories, turning whispers into a roar of hope. This is how we honor the past and build a better future.